Hello and welcome to an update on our low spend challenge. This is actually our second year doing this officially, and so we have learned so much, but also things have gotten a lot easier. So I'm going to go through my spending for the past 2 months, but I'm also going to talk a little bit about the things that I was thinking of buying that I didn't actually purchase. So, as a recap, my husband and I are in our 30s. We have a 1.5-year-old daughter, and we began our low buy challenge last year. It's kind of a no spend, low buy challenge. I kind of use those words interchangeably because for us, it's both about reducing our consumption and also about not spending quite so much money. So, sometimes, during this challenge, people will accept a lot of free things, but we don't want to bring quite so many things into our home. So unless it's something that we absolutely need, we're not just going to take free things. And we're also not really spending much on experiences, which I know sometimes that's a green light for people doing one of these no-buy challenges, because although experiences are very important to us, we're not really spending much on them right now just because we have been working towards big savings goals, at least last year. This year we are open to any kind of experiences, but we just don't have anything really planned. And so if something came up that was something that we could spend money on, like a family vacation or something, we would probably do it, depending on how much it was, obviously, because we still are trying to not spend too much money. We're not just like diverting our funds from buying things to buying experiences. We're kind of doing a middle ground of not buying a lot of things and not spending very much money on experiences. So it's been very important to us to be very mindful about the purchases that we bring into our home, the money that we're spending, because we do have these big savings goals. Currently, we are trying to pay off a lot of our debt. We have over $500,000 in debt. Most of that is our mortgage, which we're not trying to pay off early, but we do have a car loan and a retirement account loan and student loans that we are hoping to pay down a little bit. Definitely pay off the car loan and maybe pay off the retirement account loan as well. But last year we were really focused on saving a lot of money because we had to have our roof replaced, and that was very, very expensive. We were able to save up all of that money with the help of the slow buy challenge, and we paid that off. And so we've learned so many things along the way last year that have made saving so much easier and avoiding impulse spending. We haven't totally eliminated impulse spending, but it's definitely been a lot easier to prevent it with some of the steps that we have learned throughout last year. So the priorities that we are focused on spending is obviously our bills. We are also focusing heavily on saving. This is towards our retirement, our daughter's education through a 529, and our HSA, which is something we just added last month. We have always had the ability for the past couple of years to contribute to the HSA, but we weren't really contributing to it at all. We were mostly focusing on our traditional retirement accounts and my husband's Roth IRA. But this year we're also adding in the HSA as a savings goal, and then of course we have a huge goal to pay off so much debt. I think we're planning to contribute almost $100,000 towards debt this year. Some of that is just the basic payments, the minimum payments, especially for the mortgage. But in terms of paying off debt this year, it's about $60,000 that will actually get paid off this year. So the things that we don't really want to be spending on this year is any kind of like personal shopping. We don't really need any new clothes. We're only buying clothes for our daughter when she outgrows them because, she's less than a year, so she's been growing pretty regularly, outgrowing her clothes every couple of months. So we will buy clothes for her, but we're only buying them used because she does outgrow them so fast, so it doesn't really make sense to buy her brand new clothes that are really expensive, and also pretty bad for the planet to be buying brand new clothes every couple of months. For my husband and I, we're only buying clothes for ourselves if we absolutely need it. Currently, we don't need anything because we're not growing. So I don't think I've bought new clothes in years, and I do only buy from the thrift store as well, unless it's like underwear or something. I did have to buy maternity clothes 2 years ago, which I also bought all of those at the thrift store. And then I think I bought jeans last year because the zipper on my other jeans broke. But again, I got those at the thrift store. So we're not buying new clothes. Part of this is we like to buy them used to save money, and also it's better for the planet because fast fashion is insane, insanely damaging to the earth, and we don't want to contribute to that. So if we do want to buy something new, it's going to be a better quality, something that we save up for, but we haven't had to do any of that recently, and we're not planning to because there's nothing we need, as I said. So I'm not really someone who buys into the new trends, the new fashions. I've basically been wearing the same thing for the past 10 years, and I don't know what that really says about me, but I'm not really interested in keeping up with the latest styles or anything. We're also not spending money on any kind of home decor or anything. We do need to do some renovations in our house, and we're kind of holding off on the home decor until things are renovated, and once, the house has been updated, then we will update the decor. However, we do keep up with home maintenance, and that's pretty expensive. My husband does have some projects going on right now that he sometimes needs to buy wood or other things for home maintenance or to complete those projects. We haven't spent very much in home this year. Last year we spent quite a bit. We had some things break besides the roof. So we had a lot of home maintenance last year, and I think this year we might have some more because we do have an in-ground pool and it has a leak, and so we don't really know how much that's going to be, but we're probably going to have to spend a lot to fix that, and it's not something that we can put off until we're done this low-buy year because we need to keep up with maintenance for our house. Obviously, we're spending money on groceries. This has always been a problem area for us. We like to spend a lot on groceries, trying new things. But last year we began buying in bulk from Azure Standard, which has helped us save a lot of money because we were buying a lot of organic stuff from our local grocery store, and it's kind of like half price to buy it directly from this company in big bulk amounts. And we mostly only eat like beans and grains with some fresh produce or frozen produce sprinkled in here and there. So we have gotten a lot better at meal planning and meal prepping over the past year. It's been really difficult because I was working from home for, I guess, 3 years before my daughter was born, and then as soon as she was born, I had to go back into the office, and it's just been really difficult with time management, with taking her to daycare and prepping food for her for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, prepping food for me for breakfast, lunch, and dinner because I have over an hour commute. So I really have no time in the evenings. Like as soon as we get home, all I have time is to microwave something for her and I to eat, and then she goes to bed. So we have had to get really good at meal prepping and preparing things that we can prepare once and microwave all throughout the week and eat without getting tired of. And same for lunches. It needs to be something that I can prep once and eat all week, and breakfast too. I usually make her a big batch of pancakes and freeze them and send them to daycare with her all week long. We're also spending money on car and gas and maintenance on the car because that's very important to be able to get to work every day, to keep good care of our car. I drive a plug-in hybrid, so I don't really spend that much on gas. And last year, I think I replaced my tires, got an oil change. This year, I'll probably get an oil change. But hopefully, there isn't going to be very much car maintenance that needs to come up. I think I have just about 60,000 miles on my car, which I'm definitely increasing that a lot more now that I'm driving 60 plus miles a day to work and back, 31 to work and 31 back. And then we're also spending on health. Obviously, we do have the HSA, but we're trying not to use that because we want to keep that one invested now. And then maybe at some point in the future reimburse our health expenses that we spent this year and moving on. We do have a high deductible plan, which is why we're allowed to have an HSA. And so health costs are very expensive. Like anytime our daughter goes to the doctors, not for like her annual checkups or every couple of months because she's a baby, she goes pretty frequently for just checkups and vaccines and stuff. But if she goes for a fever, a cough, something like that, it's about $200 each time, which can really add up if she's sick every couple of weeks from daycare. And then we're also spending on pets. I have 2 rabbits, and they obviously need food and litter and hay and to go to the vet. They haven't gone to the vet yet this year, and they really need to. They need to get their annual vaccine to keep them safe from what I call rabbit Ebola, but it's called like rabbit hemorrhagic disease. I think it's a virus. It might be bacterial, but the effects on a rabbit are very similar to the effects of Ebola in a person. It's like 99% fatal, but they have a vaccine for it. They can get it from going outside and from tracking in dirt from outside. So if there's an outbreak in your local area, it's very possible for them to get this disease that's almost 100% fatal. So it's important for us to keep our rabbits vaccinated. They don't really go outside very often because this disease is present. I don't know that it's been in our area, but it's very close to our area. It's kind of spreading throughout the U.S. So they don't really go outside. And I think the vaccine is very, very effective, but it's not like 100%. And they haven't got their vaccine this year yet. So they can't go outside, and we need to take them to the vet because, they're part of the family. And then I mentioned buying clothes for our daughter and anything else she really needs. She hasn't really needed anything. We get a few hand-me-down toys from her cousins who are a couple years older than her, but she spends most of her time at daycare, so toys are not really a priority because she plays all day there, and she has plenty for when she's home in the evenings and weekends with us. So we're mostly only buying clothes for her when she outgrows them. We do get some hand-me-downs, but her cousins had given away most of their clothes before she came along, so we didn't have like the younger clothes for her, the smaller clothes. And then, like, we don't need to buy diapers or wipes because she's in cloth diapers. We bought that once, and then we've never again really had to buy any, just sometimes for emergencies. But we go through maybe 1 or 2 disposable diapers a week. We really haven't had to buy those. So really, we're only spending money on clothes for her. But of course, anything, if she absolutely needs it, we'll buy it for her. So that's allowed in our low spend challenge. We pay for our phone. We're also not limiting our purchases for gifts or donations if something comes up. We have our nieces and nephews' birthdays and Christmas, which we usually buy for them. And it's kind of whatever their parents say that they want is what we end up buying for them. So we don't really limit that. We are limiting our purchases for, like, my husband and I. We don't really spend much on birthdays. His birthday's coming up, and I think we might just go out to eat for that, which is something we rarely do. That's also something in our, like, no spend category is restaurants, but I'll get into that. Along with our gifts and donations, we don't really buy anything for the adults in our family for Christmas. Like, I don't buy my sisters anything. My husband doesn't buy his brother anything. Neither of us buy our parents anything. We just get together for the holidays, spend time together, and only the kids get presents. So that's because, I mean, we're all adults and we can buy our own things when we want them. And so just trying to figure out what someone wants, it's usually just a waste of money and a waste of space, because you're usually buying something that someone doesn't want because they've already bought everything that they do want. So as I mentioned with the low spend challenge, we're not really spending much money on travel or entertainment. We don't really have anything planned. Sometimes, like if the summer fair comes up, we may go to that, or if we want to go camping again this summer, we would pay for that. But we don't really have much time off of work because our daughter was getting sick quite a lot earlier in the year. So we may not have any time saved up for vacation over the summer. If we do and we want to go somewhere, then we would spend the money. We wouldn't vacation in an expensive way. As I said, we like to go camping. So that's just, we have been renting the cabin instead of setting up a tent because it saves a lot of time and we actually get to enjoy the camping and not wasting all that time putting up the tent and taking it down. So that's a little bit more money, but I think it's still only like $50 a night to go camping. And then we bring our own food. And we spend time just sitting around the fire and hiking. So it's not a very expensive vacation when we do that. So as I said, we're not really planning on any of these things, but if we feel like doing them in the moment, then we have some money saved up for them and we will go and do those. And then, as I mentioned, we're not spending money on restaurants really very often. We have been saving up like a sinking fund for restaurants. So if something comes up and we absolutely need to go out to eat, we have some money there that we can use, and we don't like blow our budget by getting takeout or something. Since we have gotten pretty good at meal prepping over the past year, it's actually much more time saving than going out to eat. We did go out to eat. Well, we went out to eat once. We wanted to take our daughter out on her first experience at a restaurant. And then I also picked up Chipotle another time, which I wasn't planning on doing. So this will go into one of the times that I got kind of influenced to make a purchase that I wasn't planning on doing. And that was Chipotle had sent me a coupon for my birthday for free guacamole. And so at the time I was like, well, maybe I'll get Chipotle, and I like built up my bowl on the app, and then I was like, nah, I don't really feel like, spending $13 just to get free guacamole. And so I wasn't going to do that, and I didn't want to like drive out of my way to go to a Chipotle, pick it up when I can just like make beans and rice at home, which is basically all Chipotle is, and it's way cheaper. So I wasn't going to use that coupon. I just ignored it in my email. And then I was going to pick up rabbit food, which is right next to the Chipotle. And so I was like, well, let me see if that coupon's still good. And it still was. And so I was like, well, I'll just pick up chips and salsa and get my free guacamole and add it to my burrito bowls. So that ended up being like $3 for chips and salsa and guacamole that I could add to what I had already made. So that right there saved me $10 on buying a whole Chipotle meal. And I got the guacamole. So if you are really tempted by emails coming in giving you coupons to things, like, I recommend unsubscribing from all of that. That was something that I did at the beginning of last year to reduce the temptation to spend money. I still get some emails, but most of the things I've unsubscribed to. Like anytime you buy something online, they start sending you emails. Like, you can try to opt out of those emails, but they just keep sending them anyway. So I unsubscribed from almost everything, and it's definitely reduced the temptation to buy things. I'm also not really on social media at all. Besides, I do watch quite a bit of YouTube, probably way more than I should. But a lot of it is financial content, which helps me to not spend money. But I was watching more of an influencer the other day, and she was trying to sell some tinted skin serum. And I was like, you know what? I'm 34. I should probably think about starting to wear makeup. And so I looked into buying this tinted skin serum because, like, I'm very low maintenance. I do not like wearing makeup. I don't like taking the time to put it on. I don't like taking the time to wash it off. And so I was like, but maybe this will be like one step, easy to do, and it won't feel gross on my skin. Like, I hate anything on my skin. So I considered buying this, and I was like, it was like over $100. And I was like, I don't want to spend $100 just to try this out. And I probably won't even like it anyway. So I was almost influenced from a YouTube video to buy something. And so if you watch a lot of influencer content, be very mindful of what they're trying to sell you. And a lot of times as a woman, they're really trying to sell you like makeup or skincare, especially, or clothing, or things that they say that you must have. And you really need to think about whether or not it actually fits into your life. If it's something that you actually want, need, will use. So for me, like, makeup is not something that I enjoy wearing. It just makes me feel gross all day to have makeup on my face. So society makes me feel like I need to be putting makeup on and dressing up and styling and coloring my hair, but like, these aren't things that make me feel good. And so I have really learned to know myself better and know that I'm not comfortable in fancy clothes, and I'm not comfortable with my hair done up, with makeup on, with my nails done. Maybe for rare occasions I can do these things, but in everyday life it's not something that I enjoy. And I mean, if you enjoy it, then that's totally fine. But you really need to know yourself and know what's going to add value to your life. And I think that doing like a no buy, low spend challenge can really help you with that, because it really helps you to be mindful and intentional with your purchases, and you're not just scrolling through like Amazon trying to find an instant fix to any of your problems. You really get to think it out, think why it's a problem, think what you really need to solve it, and not be influenced so easily to just buy something. So, yeah, that's my take on the low spend after a year and a half of doing it. I guess I'll go through how much we actually spent in some of these categories. Into the home maintenance, in January and February, we spent $109.78. I think my husband was working on a project. He's really the one who spends in the home category. Unless it's pool maintenance stuff, then I make those purchases because I'm the one who takes care of the swimming pool. For groceries, we ended up spending $1,125.54. And this was because we placed a huge bulk order in at the end of January. And that included like 5 gallons of laundry detergent, which was like $100. We do put our like home consumable purchases in our groceries category because we usually buy them alongside our groceries. So this could be things like deodorant or soap or shampoo or something, as well as like dish soap and laundry soap and stuff, and our groceries, everything that we eat. For car and gas, I ended up spending only $83.60, and this is mostly just gas for my car. My husband pays for his own gas out of his own spending money. That's just something he decided he wanted to do, so I don't track his gas spending here. For health, we ended up spending $264.16, and these were for December doctor bills for my daughter. For pets, I bought our rabbits food once. We spent $27.55. They need to go to the vet, as I mentioned, and that's going to be a couple $100s, but I haven't scheduled that yet. For our daughter, we only spent $27.59 so far this year, and that was for a whole bunch of clothes, like winter clothes that we bought for her during a sale at the thrift store on January 1st. We haven't had to buy her clothes since because it was so many clothes. Let's see. We didn't spend anything in gifts yet this year, or on clothing and personal. Also, what may fall into this category, or maybe also groceries, is any kind of feminine hygiene products, which I don't actually have to buy because I bought a menstrual cup a couple of years ago. So I've never had to buy tampons since. And I also have some period underwear that I bought for postpartum, which I don't really wear that often because I'm not a pad type girl. So I don't have to pay for any kind of personal hygiene products in that way because I have reusable ones. So a lot of the things that we have are reusable things, which is why we've been able to keep our expenses really low. And that's something that's definitely helped us out with no spending. And also, obviously, it's better for the environment to not have things that you're constantly buying and throwing away. We haven't spent anything in travel and entertainment so far this year. And again, we don't have anything planned. For restaurants, we ended up spending $62.62. And this was, as I said, we took our daughter out to a restaurant. This was a Valentine's Day date. That was our only restaurant spending besides my like $3 at Chipotle for some chips and guac. And then we haven't had any other spending that wasn't accounted for. Everything else was our fixed expenses, which is like daycare and utilities and internet, car insurance. So far this year, that was about $2,600 in those things. And then on our debt payments, So far, we paid $11,783 towards debt. Some of that was extra debt payments towards the truck, which we did a little bit in January. The rest of that is just our standard debt, our standard payments. For savings, so far this year, we have saved $6,856. This doesn't count my husband's workplace contributions. This is just my workplace contributions and then anything that we're doing above and beyond that. So my daughter's 529, the HSA, my husband's Roth IRA. We've contributed almost $7,000 to savings. So I think that's it for an update on our low spend challenge. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I love to interact with you. If you're doing a low spend challenge, then I'd love to hear how it's going. And if you're just trying to be more mindful about your purchases, I would love to hear that as well. Let me know the things that you like spending your money on, the things that are important to you. I think that for everyone it's different and everyone can do this challenge in whatever way that works best for them. But I think it's a really good thing to be doing because I think as consumers it's really important to be conscious, to know where we're spending our money, how we're spending our money, and to really know what's important to us. I know a lot of times like advertisers are really trying to tell us what's important to us. That's kind of their job. The point of them is to tell us what we absolutely need. But I think it's important to really know yourself and know for yourself what you do need. I think you'll live a better quality of life if you're only spending your money on the things that truly matter to you. And obviously the bills that you have to pay. But that's it for my update. And if you're interested in seeing more of these updates or following along with my budgeting content, my debt payoff content, my savings, then please hit subscribe because I would love to have you follow along. Thank you for being here.